Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome to Circles of Safety. We are here today to discuss 10 body safety rules that every child should know. Just to tell you a bit about myself, I am a mother of two daughters, I'm an educator, and I'm a survivor. So I thought that let me put this together, let me also look at my experience and share what I thought would really help parents to pass on these body safety rules and safeguard their children from any risk of sexual abuse. So let's get started. Let me just tell you a bit about my journey. So as you know, I have dedicated my life to discussing something that most people don't even want to think about, preventing child sexual abuse. So I've experienced several forms of sexual abuse when I was 5 years old till about 9 years old, and then sporadic episodes continued into my teens. And well, today it doesn't define me, but it sure has shaped me. And so I thought that instead of, I couldn't always talk about it so openly, I wasn't always so comfortable with it. So I thought instead of adding to the silence, why don't I find the courage to talk about it and be the voice for so many children out there who in India and abroad in the world who face abuse every day. And so that's how I started my journey, and I wanted to be the voice for the children who are counting on us to have this conversation. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful to all of you because you make my mission possible. So just to tell you something very basic to get this started, I want to put things in perspective. Do you think your child is at the risk of sexual abuse? Well, according to a government study that was done in India in 2007, 1 out of 2 children, which is 53% of the children in their study, they found had been exposed to some or the other form of sexual abuse before they turned 18 years. And this was the same for boys and girls. So I've heard a lot of people say, you have 2 daughters, you must be careful. But I'm saying anybody who has a child needs to be careful because both are equally vulnerable. So please keep that in mind. Also, I want you to know, I don't want you to get complacent. I don't want you to think that this can never happen in my family, because the news flash here again is it happens in homes of nice people, it happens in homes of successful people, it happens in homes of people we often look up to. And I guarantee you that if you look around, you will be connected to a victim of child sexual abuse through the various roles you play. You can be a neighbor, a sibling, a grandparent, an employer, a teacher, a coach, a friend, and you will know somebody in that circle. So please don't get complacent. I've been working to spread awareness for the last 5 years, and I have noticed that parents often find it difficult to weave safety messages into their safety conversations. And I often wonder why that happens. So I want to ask you guys that, is this something you're comfortable with? What if you're not? What is holding you back? What is making you uncomfortable? I would love to know that. And once we're aware of that, we can do something about it and change that and help you feel more confident about it. So some of the things that the parents have confessed in my workshops is, one, this is very embarrassing. I don't even know how to get started. I don't know what to say, when to say, how to say. So that is something that is a problem for them. The other thing I've heard parents often say is that, I don't want to broach this topic because my bacha has never asked me anything about this. And if I bring it up, then I'll probably be corrupting my innocent bacha. So, they wait for the child to start this conversation. The other thing I've also heard is that we know it's important, but please tell us how to go about it. They lack information, and so they're not sure how to go about it. So let's see what you have and what are your inhibitions, right? So The thing I want to highlight here is avoiding this conversation for any of the above reasons is not going to stop this from happening, right? So we need to face it head on. Research shows that children who have age appropriate knowledge and accurate information are better able to make safer choices and build boundaries, safer and set boundaries, and that is what we want from our children, right? So you can have this conversation in an age appropriate manner, so don't worry, you don't have to have the big talk or the birds and bees. This is very simple stuff that I'm about to tell you. So for the viewers who have just joined us, I just want to quickly reiterate that welcome. I'm Anuja Amin, a mother of 2 daughters, an educator and a survivor of child sexual abuse. I was just sharing with everyone how I have made my mess my message, and this is something that I'm working towards to prevent child sexual abuse and spread awareness. Parents need to embrace these conversations and not wish it away. So let's get started. The first out of the 10 body safety rules that I want to share with you. This is something all the 10 rules I share on an ongoing basis with my children, and they are not one-time conversations. Please remember that. And I weave them into daily conversations. Jyotika, I see your message about what is a good age to start talking about the topic with the kids. Thank you for that excellent question. I am going to mention certain age criteria when I started, and I will take this up as we go along. If you think it's not been completely addressed, please raise it again. Thank you. The first rule is use proper names for body parts. Yes, it can be embarrassing. Can you see this grandparent fall off his chair when he hears certain words? Yes, I agree, it can be embarrassing for many people, but it is very essential. At 18 months, when my daughters were 18 months, I started using actual names of body parts and not fun made up names, because this takes away the shame from what we create around our private parts, really. So just how you can say head, shoulders, knees and toes, you can say vagina, penis, vulva, breasts, nipples, bum. This is all very normal, and I would really encourage you to practice and to say this, so that if you are feeling conscious, you don't pass that on to your child. Because today my children don't think that there is anything weird about these names, and they can say it as simply as they can say, head. So that's what I encourage you to do. So use teachable moments, okay? So bathing time or diaper changes, if it's just woven as part of those, something as simple as parts of your body that are covered with a bathing suit are private, and they're out of touch and out of sight for anybody else. It's as simple as that. Also, one thing I want to raise here is you should make sure that you send out messages about privacy, not just about body parts, but also about space. So by saying that kitchen is a space where we all share together, we cook together, we eat together in the dining area. Similarly, there are certain spaces like the toilet or having a bath. These are private and they're not meant for anybody else, just you. So you're starting to have these conversations. Remember, the sooner you start talking about it and you remove the taboo from it, it will be easier and it will be more comfortable for them to get on board with it, okay? So keep that in mind. The next rule that I want to share with you is very important. Rule 2, hugs, kisses and being touched is optional. Please remember this. It's very common. I've seen this in many weddings. I've seen this in family functions. Some chacha dur se has come, and then we say, hey, come and sit on chacha's lap or give him a hug. And as parents, grandparents, we often think that physically showing that affection is also a way to show respect, and this is something that we need to be very cautious about, because if your child doesn't feel if he feels comfortable, great. If they don't feel comfortable with it, then we must give them options. You can say, why don't you do namaste, and that is a great way to show respect. Or touch their feet, get their blessings like that. Wave your hand, blow kiss. These are different options that you can high five, that you can put out there for them to show respect, acknowledge the other person. Sometimes I've seen that some of the elders actually ignore the child's boundaries and limits, and that is where you come in, and you can make sure and emphasize that your child has a right to set their own boundaries, right? So please remember that. Third one, safe and unsafe touch. Please note here that many schools and many youth serving organizations that I work with say, we have done this training, our teachers know about good touch and bad touch, and that is exactly where my problem is. When you really get down to it and you start thinking about it, in a strictly physical sense, bad touch doesn't always feel bad, and this really makes the situation worse for the person who's experiencing it, because they get confused. There's a lot of shame involved, and then they find it difficult to talk about it. So what you want to tell your child is safe and unsafe touch. And I use this by giving examples, saying, if you've fallen down and mama hugs you, that's a safe touch. And if somebody at school pushes you, kicks you, or hurts you in some way, that is unsafe. And you can also bring up confusing touch. Suppose there's a coach or there's a teacher who's unnecessarily maybe stroking your thighs, then that is confusing touch, right? So you want to use examples and talk to them. Thank you, Nischay, for validating what I've just said. So use examples, and that will be better for them to understand. Concrete examples are the best way to explain any of these rules, right? Fourth one that I'm going to discuss is discourage secrets. Important. So what you can tell your child is help them distinguish between happy surprises and unsafe secrets. These are two very different things. Again, use examples, saying baking a birthday cake for dad is a happy surprise because eventually he's going to find out and we'll all be happy about it. Whereas a special game that you play with a friend and if you're supposed to keep it a secret, that is an unsafe secret. And so you must talk to me or somebody else that you feel comfortable with, a safe adult that you feel comfortable with, right? So these are small things that you can point out, and it will go a long way in having conversations. Sometimes they come up with a lot of things and they will just start sharing, and let them just encourage the sharing, and then in time you will know which ones are the ones you have to pay attention to and which ones you don't really need to get anxious about. Prachi, yes, thank you, I'm glad you agree. The fifth one is respond to the icky feeling. Icky feeling is just how when we are around somebody or in a situation where we feel uneasy, similarly children can also sense this. And so encourage your child to verbalize their feelings, encourage your child to stay in touch with with their gut, their instincts. It's very important. And so, so you tell them that any time that you feel this, queasy tummy or sweaty palms or heart racing, butterflies, something that, that discomfort, that you must come and talk to them. Those are early signs of discomfort. So you can always come and talk to me or another safe adult who you feel comfortable with, and we will try and correct that, and we will try and change that for you, right? The sixth one, I hope I'm not going too fast for you. I just really want to keep some time for questions. The sixth one is no exceptions to these rules, not even family members. Oh my God, I wish that this is something that more and more people know, because lot of parents, lot of adults think that if they just say stranger danger, their job is done. No accepting chocolates, or don't talk to a stranger. That's not where it ends. Remember, 9 out of 10 children around the world, okay, not just in India, this is a statistic around the world, 9 out of 10 children have faced sexual abuse by the hands of somebody they know or trust. So it is somebody who makes them feel special, somebody who loves them, somebody who's filling that need, filling that gap when they don't have strong connections with their family members, or they don't have a strong bond with another adult. Then abusers take advantage of it. So, by warning your child just about stranger danger, you're taking care of only 10% of the problem, and 90% of the problem is known people and trusted adults. So please make sure that you tell them that there are no exceptions to this rule, and even all these rules that we're talking about, that these rules apply even to people they may care for and they trust, right? So even to family members, and that sometimes adults do wrong things, and they must come and talk to you, and we'll remind them about the rules. So again, here I would not want you to scare them. Please, we don't want to come from a space of fear. We want to be motivated by love, and we don't want to pass on our anxieties and not let our children set out in the world. Let them explore the world. Just equip them with these rules, right? Thank you, Nishchay. The other thing that I want to also mention here is the seventh rule: help your child identify safe adults. For a couple of rules I kept saying, if you don't feel comfortable talking to me, find a safe adult. What I mean here is, I know it's ideal to think that your child will come to you in case they have some issues, but that's not always true. There are phases, there are ages when they look to others, and so it's very useful to very early on build this safety network for them. Help them identify 3 to 5 adults who they can talk to in case something has happened to them. Make sure that at least one of those adults out of the 3 to 5 is not a family member. So maybe ask your child that if something happens at school, if something happens on the playground, who would you like to talk to about it? And if they say you can say, yes, great. If there is something you can't talk to me about, or you don't want to talk to me about, who else? And then help them identify those adults, and also inform those adults that if ever your child comes and talks to you, that they must come and talk to you also, and keep that conversation going, right? The next rule is, nothing on the internet is private. Oh my God, this is so relevant today. Education has gone online. Our children are spending time on devices. Maybe they used to earlier, but now more than ever, they have the internet, and they're using these applications. They have YouTube, etc. So there are kid-safe modes available on YouTube, on Google, even on Hotstar, Disney. I think there is a kid-safe mode. So when you do that, these are basic things you can do to make sure that inappropriate information just doesn't crop up in a form of an ad or anything like that, right? You don't want that to happen. So that is something you can do. Also, something else you want them to know is that everything on the internet that they see is not real. So if somebody it's not the truth, right? So if somebody says and claims that they are 13 years old and they're a girl, doesn't mean that a 13-year-old girl is trying to make friends with them. Sometimes, adults also do these things, and they try and lure a child to get personal information and get them to do something inappropriate. So remember that sexual predators are trying to get hold of our children from the very devices that they are holding, right? So I would make sure that you communicate with them from an early age, that so as an adult I can sort of decipher between what is harmful and what is not. And so from time to time, let's have this conversation and let's monitor your activity, right? So which applications you're using, which websites you're going to, etc. And we can really have a longer conversation about cyber safety another time. If that's something that interests you, then let's take that separately. Another rule that is very important for them to know is number 9. I believe you. It's always okay to tell, right? It's always right to tell. I did not disclose my abuse for 20 years. It took me 20 years. You have to understand that children don't immediately understand the extent of what has just happened, and by the time it happens, they think it's too late to tell. They feel that, oh my god, I was already a part of this, an accomplice almost, and so the guilt and the shame, it makes it very difficult for you to have this conversation. And so on an ongoing basis, you must tell your child that if there's anything, it's simple things. It's simple things when they lie about something and how we react, if they do something that we don't approve of, or if they think that my parents are going to be disappointed with me if I tell them this. It's how you react to those aspects that will determine whether they come and talk to you about these big things that are happening in their life. So start small and take these baby steps, and tell them that if there's anything that you want to talk to me, even if it is something that will maybe upset me or shock me or maybe make me sick to my stomach, I'm here, I'm going to believe you, and please come and tell me, and you won't get into trouble. Because many times what abusers tell their child is, tell the child is that nobody's going to believe you, there's no proof, you have no proof, why would somebody believe you, they all love me, and so it creates a lot of confusion with the child, right? So please make sure that you tell them that it's always right to tell at any point in time. Rule number 10, teach your child to respect others' boundaries. Please, I'm stressing on this. I know that we all want to believe that our children will be on the receiving end, if at all, we'll be on the receiving end of this. Whereas you need to understand that there are many times that it is, so 30% of the times it is children who are harming other children. They don't know what is happening. I'm not saying they're consciously doing it, but sometimes unknowingly they are hurting other children. And this is again a statistic that is universal. And so older siblings, or older cousins, other adolescent, a neighbor's or your friend's older brother or something like that, these are the things that you need to be aware of. This is how it happens. And so you tell your child that if you are ever in a situation where you're playing with somebody, or if they feel uncomfortable, they push you away, you need to respect that. You need to stop what you are doing. And we all of us deserve to have our body our boundaries respected. And so it's important for you to use this as a prevention opportunity also, right? So we want to make sure that our children are taken care of in both ways, like that, or from both sides. So this was it from my side, the 10 rules, the 10 body safety rules. What I also want to sort of bring up here is that, are you willing to have this uncomfortable conversation with your children so that they don't have to feel uncomfortable at some point? in time, hopefully not, right? So gather the courage and do it. I also want to urge that it's not just parents who are responsible. It takes a community to protect a child. Okay, so it's all our duties. All of us need to learn the facts, see the warning signs, and react responsibly. Okay, the great news here is that Circles of Safety, the module that I have been doing with schools and parents for the last 5 years, I finally brought it online. And so if any of you are interested, it's almost like a 2-hour module where I discuss all of this, reacting responsibly, learning the warning signs, how does it happen. There are so many questions, busting the myths around child sexual abuse. If you're interested in any of this, I'm just going to share a Google form here. So please use this Google form to share your details, and we will get in touch with you. I will get in touch with you for, let me just post this. Sorry. Yeah. And I'll just post this. Please access this Google form, share your details, and then I can share further details with you about that workshop. So let me take some questions. Jyotika, you asked me about when is it age appropriate? When can we start talking about these things? I say start as early as possible. Okay. So, just like right now, you tell them about wash their hands, sanitize, these are messages that you give, put on mosquito repellent. So, using proper names, all of that can start now. Okay, it's never too early. Every message that we have shared right now just has to be brought down to the level of that child. So obviously maybe you won't tell a 2-year-old about the internet, but the other messages can be taught and shared immediately. I hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions? Let me see. Any messages for teachers? Well, for teachers, yes, definitely. I would say that try, there are lots of posters and things available. I'm going to share some resources. Thank you for reminding me. I would first request teachers to push your schools to have some of these books available in your libraries so they can become part of conversations. Sometimes even share a storybook in your class where some of these messages come up. I know some schools are doing this really, really well. I know my child is also getting these messages from the school, and I'm really happy about that. As teachers, what else you can do is, have posters, have these conversations, resources available for the child to share as and when necessary. One of the books that I often use is called The Amazing You. This is something that works for me. I strongly urge parents to go through a resource themselves and figure out whether you feel comfortable with it or not. So I'll give you an example. When I checked on Google, which are the top 10 books that I can use, there were some books that I didn't feel comfortable with because they were using the terms good touch and bad touch. That's another thing I would tell teachers, please don't use good touch and bad touch. So you figure out what works for you, and then maybe read this together with your child, and it works. The other book that works, and this is not just for body safety rules, it's for any talk, right from puberty to growing up. This is another really nice book to have. So these are some of the resources I often use in my sessions. Is there anything else that we can, any other questions that I can address? Then please write. I'm just scrolling through the tab to see. Yes, I'm going to post this live on my page. So I would really encourage all of you to share this further. It's a very important message. I hope you agree. So please share with people that may be interested. Do fill in the Google form. Again, that's something I would encourage you to share with others, and maybe more people can show up for the workshop. Thank you so much for your time. I'm grateful for each one of you for being here. I'm going to sign off, and contact me if you need anything. The details are on my page. info@circlesofsafety.com is the email address where you can reach me. Thank you so much for being here today. See you.